how in the world did you have the mindset coming out of high school, number one, to focus on your surroundings enough to know that the place that I want to be is determined by the people that are around me? Like, did you have people pouring into you, or was this just like you understood the world to this point to understand that the people who are around me are going to be the people who push me in the direction of the rest of my life. And if I want to be a football player, then I need to surround myself with the people who are doing the thing.
It's an interesting question because, and I don't know how I knew this at the time, because in my life, I had a great family. My dad really pushed me. I had a great football coach in high school, who's still coaching to this day right next door to my house. He's still in it. And, I understood that, like, it was a really aha moment when I first started playing football in fifth grade. I had this coach who was amazing, and he was instrumental. His name was Coach Bear, and he looked like a bear. He was so hairy, and he talked like a drill sergeant. Yeah! And like that's what we grew up with. And when I first started playing football, I hated it. I hated it. I didn't like it. I wasn't good at it. All the guys on my team knew I was the worst player, and I hated the fact I sucked. I hated it. And Coach Bear said simply, if you do these things, you will get better. You have potential. Like you can do it. And he pushed me beyond my limits. And I didn't want to at first because I wasn't disciplined. I was just a boy, fifth grade. Think about a fifth grader, like they're boys. But I accepted the challenge. I was like, okay, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's go with it. I wanted to quit the first year. And I pushed myself. I got better. I sticked with it. I embraced what at the time didn't realize was discipline. And
Mm.
sure enough, by the end of the football season in fifth grade, I became that kid that nobody wanted to go against in one-on-ones. Nobody. It's what he said. And he was instrumental because he not only was tough on me, but he loved me. And so I had an
Mm.
idea of what leadership and what, even in hindsight, discipleship looked like. Like someone who's going to push me, but someone who's going to love me. And I had that in my coaches at high school. Not always. I had examples of bad leadership. There was one particular coach on staff at high school that was uh, vicious, if you want to, that's put it mildly, who was,
Uh,
criticized you for the small, even when you had a great game, there was always something that he would just trash you for. It was never, ever good enough. And if he didn't like you, he just didn't like you. And
was it
so
with humor or was he just like mean?
he was mean. Like I remember through walkthrough before games. Mind you, before games you're usually wearing helmets and you're dressed down in sweats or some sort of athletic. I came in with a raincoat on, and he pulled me aside and sat me off to the side and isolated me because I was wearing a stupid raincoat. And I mind you, I live in Washington State. It's
Yeah,
rain, right? Like it rains, and I'm trying to
yeah.
be mindful of that. And like I was singled out, and they were also there was this weird dynamic because the head coach had his brother and his dad as assistant coaches. The head coach was great. His brother and his dad could be absolutely vicious towards you, especially if you had potential to go to college. They were extra hard on you because they had their own insecurities. Let's put it that way. And that's something I've
Mm.
already like rectified down the road with that coach. Cat, get out of here! Come on, get out of here! Sorry, my cat's in the garage with me. Um,
No.
and so, you know, I'm not really sure. So I had an idea of what community should look like, what I wanted in a leader, and I had plenty examples of. And I said this in my senior going is like, thank you for showing me the man I should be and ought not to be. And I had a
Mm.
double saying because I said, you showed me good things, but you also showed me a lot of bad things. And I'm going to learn from those bad things and not be that man. I had a lot of bad teachers. And that's kind of what inspired me to go into education because I was like, I know, I just know I can do this job better and I would do it differently.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have an example of a bad teacher. I want to be a good teacher. And I really, really was like set on it by seventh grade. I wanted to teach. I wanted to coach football. I want to be a part of football for the rest of my life. This was the idea. And,
In seventh grade?
huh?
In seventh grade, you said that?
In high school is where I kind of came up, where I consciously came up with that. I think unconsciously I understood that
Yeah.
because, like, yeah. So
God.
I just, uh, for me, I always looked inward at myself. Here's the one benefit of being insecure: you look inward to yourself, right? You think a lot about self. You think a lot about life. It can be bad in the sense that you're dwelling on your own failings and insecurities, and you can be really hard on yourself, which is something that I struggled with for years. And Christ had to heal me of that, and He did, right? Not fully, but it's so much better, right? So
Yeah.
much better. Like I'm living in so much more freedom now. But what I understood was that, oh, there's the cat. She's,
It's
I was,
entertainment.
what I understood was uh, essentially I looked inward a lot and I realized like, okay, because like an insecure person was like, how can I improve? How can it be better? And so I did a lot of introspection. And so that's when I came to the realization. And that's why I made the choice to go to EOU was like, look, I want to be around people that not only I believe in and think the world of, but also believe in me. And Coach Camp, to his credit, did. Like he believed in me. Especially like my first year of football was rough in college. Being a redshirt freshman, if you've been that in that lifestyle, it's rough, dude. It's so rough, and
Yeah.
I needed people. I was looking for people to believe in me because I didn't believe in myself, and but I knew what it looked like because I had examples like Coach Bear. Man, he believed in
Yeah.
me, and I was the worst of the worst. When he believed in me, I knew I could do it. And when I did it, I was like, okay. And I had other great coaches like Coach Putt in seventh grade who made me run hills until my quads fell apart. I mean, he pushed me to be a tough man. And
Yeah.
so it's important because character is formed not in isolation, but in community. It's always
Mm.
formed in community. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a strong community where I could be loved for who I am, affirmed in who I am, and also sent out to be a better man. And I wanted
Mm.
to contribute to the community and contribute to my team, right? Nobody wants to be useless.
No.
Like, unless you're a complete psycho and weird person. So that's kind of the calculus behind that.